India and China are often compared because they share one shocking similarity. Both are home to more than 1 billion people. Yet when you look at global power, manufacturing, infrastructure, and economic influence, the gap between them feels enormous. And this difference did not come from intelligence, geography, or luck. It came from how each society organized belief, authority, and time. After World War II, both countries were poor. China was devastated by civil war. India had just emerged from colonial rule. Neither had strong industry, neither had modern infrastructure, and both had massive rural populations. But from the very beginning, their paths silently diverged. China made a radical choice. The state would come before the individual, and long-term stability would come before personal freedom. Religion, which had historically shaped Chinese life, was deliberately pushed out of public space. Temples were controlled, rituals discouraged, and belief was reframed as culture rather than authority. This was not accidental, it was strategic, because the Chinese leadership believed that competing belief systems weakened centralized discipline. An unknown detail is that during the Cultural Revolution, even traditional family ancestor rituals were banned, not because they were religious, but because they created loyalty outside the state. Meanwhile, India took the opposite path. Democracy was sacred, religion remained central, and belief systems were never challenged. Hinduism, with its deep concepts of karma, destiny, and caste, remained woven into daily life, and this shaped behavior in ways rarely discussed outside academic circles. In many Indian regions, your birth still quietly defines your social expectations, not by law, but by tradition. Another lesser-known detail is that in the 1970s, India considered land and labor reforms similar to China, but backed away due to religious and caste resistance, which political leaders feared would fracture society. China did not hesitate. In the late 1970s, China made one of the most aggressive decisions in modern history. It opened its economy, but kept political control. Deng Xiaoping famously said, "It does not matter if a cat is black or white as long as it catches mice," which was a coded message. Ideology would bend for productivity, but authority would not. China built factories before cities, roads before consumption, and ports before middle-class comfort, while India focused on protecting democratic process, debate, coalition politics, and social balance, which slowed execution. One absurd but true detail is that China once relocated entire villages in weeks to build industrial zones, while similar projects in India were delayed for years by religious land claims and court cases. China educated engineers at scale. India educated lawyers, administrators, and software developers. China treated manufacturing as national security. India treated services as economic opportunity. Even today, China produces more engineers annually than the rest of the world combined, while India produces world-class coders who often leave the country because domestic systems cannot absorb them. Another rarely mentioned contrast lies in how failure is treated. In China, failure is tolerated if it serves long-term state goals. Local officials are often promoted for bold experiments, even if they partially fail. In India, failure carries social and political stigma, which encourages caution and incrementalism. Religion also plays a subtle role in time perception. Chinese culture, influenced by Confucianism, views time as cyclical, long, and collective, while Hindu philosophy often frames life as one of many cycles, where individual struggle is part of cosmic balance. This does not make one superior, but it shapes urgency. China behaves like a society racing against history. India behaves like a civilization comfortable with time. An unknown but striking detail is that during major Chinese infrastructure projects, religious holidays are ignored. Schedules never pause, whereas in India, large projects often slow or stop during festivals because social participation outweighs deadlines. China suppressed religion to unify purpose. India preserved religion to protect identity. China centralized power to move fast. India decentralized power to stay fair. Both choices had consequences. China lifted hundreds of millions out of poverty in one generation, but at the cost of personal freedoms. India preserved democratic voice, but struggled to convert population size into industrial strength. Today, China exports machines. India exports talent. China builds ports. India builds apps. China dominates hardware. India dominates software. And the final uncomfortable truth is this: population alone does not create power. Belief systems decide whether people move together or separately. India is not behind because it is weak. It is behind because its social fabric values harmony over speed. China is ahead not because it is smarter, but because it enforced unity over plurality. And the real question for the future is not which country is better, but which system can adapt faster when the world changes again.
If you liked this video, support the channel by liking and subscribing. And for the next episode, write in the comments which two countries you want compared.